Mission Christian Radio presents The Seventh Son, the story of King David of Israel, written for radio in 13 episodes by Colm Flanagan. Episode 3 is entitled Saul.
I think by now all of us, David's brothers, realised that our young brother was destined for something special, even those who'd forgotten that the prophet Samuel some years ago declared him the Lord's anointed, in other words, a future king. It wasn't clear to me how this would happen. I mean, after all, Saul had sons of his own, and his eldest, Jonathan, was widely respected. Furthermore, after killing Goliath, David had left the army and quietly returned home to the family, going back to minding the sheep and so on. He grew up to be a self-assured young man, and from time to time I wondered what would become of him. Years passed, and events at the king's court began to cast a shadow over our whole family's future.
I can't stand it, do you hear? I can't stand it. Take it away! You fools! Would you have me poisoned? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Do you want to see me poisoned? Do you want to see
What is it? Is the king ill?
I was simply giving him some olives to eat, sir. And then he went into a rage. For no reason at all that I can think of.
I see. You'd better go. Leave this to me.
Yes, sir.
Abner, what's wrong? Is my father ill?
Oh, it's another of his outbreaks, Prince Jonathan.
Right, I'd better go into him, Abner. Father, calm down. It's Jonathan. What's the matter? How can I help? We must do something.
Yes, but what, Jonathan? These fits are becoming more and more frequent, and more severe too. He's going to kill someone soon.
I wonder...
What?
Well, he never seems to get these fits at mealtimes.
You think that's significant?
I'm just wondering. When we all meet in the hall to eat, there's usually a musician there. It does seem to soothe the king, especially if it's a harp player. Haven't you noticed? We did talk about this a while ago.
Oh, yes, I remember now. We must try and find a good musician, a harpist who can come to court and play for Saul. It's worth a try. I must get on to it immediately.
And guess who they came for? Not me, but David. Because amongst all his other accomplishments, David was very skilled on the harp. He taught himself while spending hours with nothing much else to do minding the sheep. How they heard about him or who told them I never did find out. Not that it mattered anyway. It was a royal summons, and that was that. I was chosen to go with David, and we took the customary gift for the king. Each time that Saul felt his evil spirit, as he called it, coming on him, they sent for David, and he played. Saul was very grateful, and got our family to agree that David could stay at the palace permanently.
Hey, who's this coming towards us?
Oh, it's Jonathan, the king's eldest son.
And the girl with him?
Michal, his youngest daughter.
You know them all, don't you, bro? I'm glad you stayed with me to help me find my way around. But she's lovely, isn't she?
Don't stare like that, David. It's bad manners. But you are right. Shh, they're coming over.
Ah, the boys from Bethlehem, sons of Jesse. How are you both today? Michal, this is David, who plays for father.
As usual, attention was focused on my younger brother. I just faded into the background when this happened.
And you, sir, are the king's eldest son?
Jonathan, yes. I was the one who sent for you, though we'd never met. Your harp playing helps my father so much.
Jonathan, aren't we going to be introduced?
Oh, yes. David, this is my sister, Michal.
Well, David, how are you enjoying life at the palace?
Well, it's a bit confusing sometimes, actually.
We must help you then, mustn't we, Jonathan?
Indeed we must, dear sister, and no doubt you'll do your bit.
Oh, yes, I most certainly will.
We will meet again, David.
I'll look forward to that, Jonathan.
And so will I, David. Bye for now.
And off they went, Michal looking over her shoulder at David. I could see my younger brother was very taken with Michal, and she with him. I wondered if either remembered the promise Saul had made before David killed Goliath, offering his daughter in marriage to the man who killed the giant. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, Jonathan and David were to become close friends as time passed, a friendship that was to be heavily tested in time to come. In fact, it was largely due to Jonathan's influence that Saul made David an officer in the army. That was where the trouble began. You see, David turned out to be a really good soldier, perhaps too good for Saul's liking. Many people began to compare Saul unfavourably with the new young military commander. David was fearless in battle. His killing of Goliath had been no fluke. And if he did rather obviously enjoy the glory, well, he was still very young. But Saul's envy began to further erode his already unstable mental condition. He grew morose, and then would lash out at anyone who tried to help. Some folk believed that God had left him. David was summoned on one occasion to play for Saul to see if this would help as it used to do. Not a good move.
Wretched little harp twanger. I'll settle for him. Take that!
Your Majesty! What's wrong? What have I done? That spear might have killed me.
Yes, indeed it might. Ooh, that's a good idea. Tell you what, here's another. You... Oh, I missed again. No, I'll get you yet. I am indeed, and I'll kill you with my bare hands if I have to.
After that little episode, Saul did seem to calm down a bit, but he had secretly decided he must get rid of David and devised a cunning plan. He sent for David again.
Your Majesty?
Ah, David. I apologize for that, that episode with the spears, you know. I really wasn't myself. Sometimes I feel as if I'm going mad.
I understand, Your Majesty.
But I would never attack my son-in-law.
Son-in-law? Do you mean...
Yes, I remember my promise. The one I made about the man who killed Goliath. Well, you're old enough now to marry, so I intend for you to marry Michal. Now, how does that sound? I know she's very fond of you.
And I of her, Your Majesty. But...
But?
Did you really mean it? I mean, I'm not an important person, nor is my family.
Of course, the killer of Goliath is important, David. Don't they sing about you in the streets? Of course they do. And I do mean it. But there is just one small condition.
A condition?
Yes, but it should be no problem for one with your fighting skills. I want you to sort out these Philistines once and for all, lead your men out and finish them off once and for all. And when you are successful, then you shall marry Michal, my daughter.
Saul was secretly hoping that David would be killed himself, but his plan backfired. David killed 200 Philistines, so Saul had no option but to agree to his marriage to Michal. And late one night, once again David was summoned to play before the king, his father-in-law. The problem was that Saul's hatred of David now led him to an irresistible urge to kill him if he had a chance. So...
You little louse, take your harp out of here or I will kill you. I will kill you. I will not have it. I will not have it. Take yourself away out of my sight.
David, terrified, ran for his life again. But this time Saul didn't calm down. He sent his guards to seek David out and kill him. David fled to where he lived with Michal.
Michal!
David, What is it? What's wrong?
Michal, it's your father. He's tried to kill me again. Why does he want to kill me? What have I done to him?
Oh, David, you know. Did you think that Saul the king wouldn't find out that Samuel anointed you years ago as next king of Israel? He needs you dead. He can never feel secure while you live. He knows that God has deserted him, and it's driving him mad, literally.
But what can I do?
About Saul? Just keep out of his way.
Who's that at this time of night?
I've no idea. I'll go, just in case.
In case?
Shh! Go into the bedroom. Hurry, David. Who is it at this late hour?
Open, in the name of King Saul.
And this is King Saul's daughter. Why are you hammering like that on my door? Explain.
I am sorry, Your Highness, but I've been ordered by the king to speak to your husband David, urgently.
And did my father say why?
No, Your Highness, he did not. But he was most insistent I find your husband at once.
Well, he's here, but he's too ill to speak to anyone.
May I come in?
No, you may not. This is ridiculous. I am the king's daughter. Go away.
Very well, Your Highness, but I will have to report this to King Saul.
Well, let him come himself if he's so concerned. David, you must get away. They're going to search our rooms. Get out the window.
But where can I go?
Anywhere away from here. Away from my father. And David,
Yes?
remember, I love you. Oh, send for me, David. I'll come to you wherever you are. You are my life.
Oh, Michal.
Let go.
Once David had gone, Michal took down a small statue that stood in the room and put a wig of goat's hair on it, then slipped it into the bed, so just the head and shoulders showed. A few moments later...
Your Highness, the king orders you to allow me to search your room. He is very angry.
Very well, but you'd better not make a mess of the place.
I'm sorry, but I must search thoroughly. David, the king demands you to attend him at once. And what is this? A statue and a wig? I shall have to report this to your father, Your Highness. You will have some explaining to do.
So, you thought you'd deceive me, didn't you, Michal?
Oh, Father, what did you expect me to do? You arranged my marriage to David. He's my husband and I love him. I was just...
I can soon fix that. He's my enemy, girl, and you have sided with him against me. I should have you whipped for this.
Father, how can you say that? I love you. But I love him too. Why do you hate him so?
Oh, it's a fine thing when you can't trust your own family anymore.
But he threatened to kill me if I didn't help him.
Did he indeed? Is that why you covered for him after he'd fled? Not very convincing, Michal. Now you get out of my sight before I do forget that you are my daughter. Go on, clear out!
As for David, he escaped and went to Samuel and told the old prophet what had happened. Samuel took him in, and for now he was safe. But Saul's hatred grew, and he vowed to seek out David wherever he was and kill him. Things did not look good for my brother.
In episode 3 of The Seventh Son, the narrator and seventh son was played by John Lander and Saul by David Bruce. Other parts were played by members of the Commission Radio Drama Team. The play was produced in Belfast at Commission Studios by Colm Flanagan. Episode 4 is entitled Ahimelech.